Hello, today we're going to take a look at some price metrics in a new home subdivision where a national builder is building and selling new homes. As you are aware, our market is predominantly made up of national builders, and when market conditions change, as they have due to increasing mortgage rates, corporate directives are flushed down the system, and the current directive is to lower price to reduce inventory. So going to look at a subdivision here, not going to name the builder, not going to name the subdivision, but this is pretty interesting to see how rapidly prices increased and now how rapidly they're going down. Never seen anything like this before in my 35 plus years of analyzing residential markets. So not to confuse you, but we're going to look at three slides. The first one looks at list price per square foot by contract, which is up here, and then this is the median sales price by contract date. So we do have an issue in Triangle MLS in terms of TMLS rules regarding how new construction builders enter contract dates, and that can skew the data. One day we'll get this cleaned up, but what I do personally is I look at both. I look at the list price per square foot based on contract date and median sales price based upon contract date, and then the next slide we're going to look at those two metrics based upon closing date. So the contract date is really the key date because that's when the meeting of the minds went. That's when the price stops. So I emphasize that a little bit more, but I bring in the closing date just to kind of backfill it and see if there's support on that as well. So we're going to talk about the increases first, and then we'll talk about the decreases. So we're going to start first quarter of 2021 and go through the third quarter of this year. If you look at, we'll go for the peaks. These percentages I'm going to talk about are the peaks. So from the second quarter of 2022 all the way down to the first quarter of 2021, that's a 26% increase. It's almost 2% per year. If you go over here, the second quarter was also the peak in terms of the median sales price. Went up to from 460 down to 341. That's a 36% increase in terms of those two metrics. So just never seen anything like that before. Now we're going to look at the bad, where the peak here again is the second quarter, and then we're going to look at the third quarter. So comparing 194 square foot versus 179. That's a decrease of 8% in one quarter, and then you come down here and you go 460 to 429. That's a decrease of 7% in one quarter. Now we're going to look at the red. Once again, this is the top is the median sales price per square foot based upon closing date, and this is the median sales price based upon closing date. Similar metrics in terms of the peak. In terms, this is Q2 at 187. The valley was Q3 at 150. And that was also an increase of about 25%. And you look at the 443 here down to the 328 here, that's also about 36. So that kind of matched what we saw on the contract date. Now, once again, we'll look at the decrease going from the peak in the second quarter down to the fourth quarter, which we do have data. There's 10. That's the number of samples. That's a decrease of 5%. You look at 445 down to 415. That's a decrease of about 6%. So what happened, right? So you want to cut prices and you want to produce sales. Well, look at what happened here. They cut prices in the first and second quarter, and they produced 26 sales. It's 2x where they were. They don't report all their sales in MLS, but the spec sales, I'm assuming they put the majority of them in there. So they've had a pretty good fourth quarter already. We're just 2 weeks into November as of the recording of this. But here's another one. So we talked about those percentages. Look at where they were a year ago in the second quarter. They were sales price to original list price ratio was 101%, 102% in the third quarter. But now look what happened in the second quarter where they had to go down. Remember, this is sales price to original list price. So they went from 100% down to 96% down to 94%. And that 6% drop kind of matched the percentage drop that we saw in those price metrics on the previous slide. So main point I want to get across, if you are marketing a resale house in a subdivision where the national builder still has ongoing new construction, be very aware. Be very aware of their price decreases because resales can't compete with new construction. Certain times they can, but for the most part, new construction prices lead the way. And when new construction builders start dropping prices, especially to the percentages that we've seen, when you see anywhere between 5 and 10% drops, some of these things I've seen have been a 15% discount from original list price. The resale has to react to that. It has to. And if you don't, you're going to wind up on the expired pile, and you don't want that. You're going to have a bad experience with your seller. So hopefully that's the main point I want to get across to you, is that and all this is due. Why is this due? That's probably another question you want to ask. Well, in my opinion, it's specifically due to increasing mortgage rates. As we saw those really start to take effect in the second quarter. Took the market about a month or two in terms of metrics to react to that, and just to see the rapid increase from the first quarter of last year to the second quarter of this year, and then the rapid decrease from the second quarter of this year to the third and fourth quarter of this year. It's just been phenomenal. Never seen anything like it before. So anyway, I hope that is helpful to you. For information on this and other topics, please subscribe to the TAR Reports at www.tarreport.com.